what I want to talk to you all about today is how each of us can go from our best to better, reach these new heights in our lives, and redefine what success can look like. And one of the first ways we can do that is by embracing the spark. Everything worthwhile starts with that little spark. And when we feel that tug or that pull on our emotion, that something different, that little God nudge, we want to pause, pay attention, be curious. We want to ask ourselves, okay, what is it about that spark that captured our attention? Because sometimes it's like we can be driving down a highway and we're so focused on that end goal, that destination that we're trying to get to, that we might be missing these blinking signs that are telling us to exit down a different road, a road that could lead to a new path and passion and creativity for our life. So imagine just being 6 years old and it's the most random chance at your little cousin's gymnastics birthday party that sparks this passion deep inside and leads to this 11-year incredible journey. Now everything's larger than life when you're 6, right? Walking into a gym for the first time, trying gymnastics for the first time, doing those first flips, and you think, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. Where do we sign up? Then the coach comes over and talks to you and he says, hey, where do you take gymnastics at? And I was like, I don't take gymnastics. This is the first time. So then he goes over, talks to your parents and says, hey, I think I see some talent, some potential in your daughter. You guys should really think about putting her in the sport. The coach saw that little spark. And now spark can take hold pretty quickly. Who here has kids? Or knows kids? Or was a kid? Ever try to drag your kid out of a birthday party? It can be pretty difficult, I'm learning, with 3, 5, and under. A little different example is there's this person, and let's just say, let's call him Jim. And if your name's Jim, it's not you, it's that other Jim. You can tell that because he didn't step out into the uncertain. He didn't engage. He didn't embrace those little sparks when he felt them or questioned them. That he missed out on a lot of opportunities he could have had in his life. The spark is something we all want to be on the lookout for. Be on alert for it. Don't ignore it. Don't keep it suppressed. Embrace the spark and let it ignite that new creativity or path or passion in your life. It can be so easy to become complacent in certain areas, right? We can just stay on that same path because it's comfortable, it's cozy, it's what we know. We don't want to shake things up too much. But what are those detours, those opportunities you might be missing? Maybe you know they're there, but you're just not grasping a hold of them. Let's remember to be those people that try the new path. Because coming from someone that has tried a few different paths, as you'll see as the story goes along, some worked out, some didn't, and that's okay. But I can tell you it's going to be scary. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to push us outside of where we feel comfortable. And those are also all of the things that are going to make it that much more rewarding and that much more worth it. So another way we can go from our best to better is by the way we look at the podium step. The podium is normally this perceived place of achievement, a new height. You can't get much better than being on top of the podium. But a different way to look at it is really just as another step, a step to truly see reality, a step for the kind of commitment that you need to make and the level of excellence that you want to stay at. So here we are, 10 years old, level 10 in the sport of gymnastics, which is pretty dang good. You're just that second highest level you can be, right below the elite level. You're training about close to 40 hours a week at this point. So you're basically full-time job, very committed and disciplined at a very young age. You're winning all around Louisiana where you're from, getting on top of the podium, receiving medals and trophies. But here we are at our first level 10 nationals. And you're not competing against just the gymnasts from Louisiana anymore. Now you're competing against the best across the US. Well, surely you think you're going to land on top of that podium and be receiving medals and trophies because that's what you're used to. But you want to know the podium I ended up standing on? 76th place. If you're wondering, there's actually no podium for 76th place. They don't make them to go that far down, unfortunately. So here we are road tripping back home with the family in the car, and you're sitting there having this moment with yourself like, wow, that didn't go as I was planning or hoping or wanting or thinking it was going to go. There's no trophies or medals I'm holding onto in my lap. And reality hits that there's still a lot of work to be done. If you want to get anywhere near as good as those other girls, if you want to get anywhere near that podium. Gymnastics taught this great lesson that there are going to be times in our life we have to deal with competition. And that's okay. It's a good thing. It keeps us sharp. And in gymnastics, there's always someone coming up behind you that is younger, stronger, healthier, working just as hard as you are with the same goal to make it on top of that podium and to knock you off. Coach Evgeny always said, if you're not willing to put in the time, the effort, the work that it's going to take to achieve your goals, well, somebody else is. And Mark Cuban said it best when he said, work like there's someone working 24/7 to take it all away from you. And simply put, there's just no way around that good old-fashioned hard work at whatever it is we're doing in our life. And sometimes we can make it up to those podiums, and we can think, okay, we did it. We're here. We're good. We can take a rest. But when we get up to those podiums, that's when we have to get creative. And we have to ask ourselves, okay, what is our drive and determination going to be to stay committed, to stay on top of this podium? Because unfortunately, motivation is just not going to be there most of the time. And what we're going to be left with is that self-discipline, that self-accountability to get up every single day and to do those things we don't always feel like doing. So let's remember that when we get up to those podiums in our life, to use it as just another step, just an opportunity to look around, see where you're at, see what other opportunities are out there that you can grab a hold of that's going to take you to that next level. Now, sometimes when we're in this mode where we are grinding, we are putting in the work, we're putting in the time and the effort, maybe it's taking a long time for our hard work to show up and to pay off. We're really having to exercise that patience muscle within ourselves for the work to come. It's in those times we can sometimes get burned out. We can get stuck in a rut. And it's in those times that we have to remember the reason why we are doing something and to go back to those. So at 11 years old, Dad's job transfers our family from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Houston, Texas. Well, at first, we're all excited. We're like, okay, it's going to be this great new move, an adventure, this new gym, new school, new house, new friends. We get moved and settled, and turns out it's just not as awesome as we were hoping. It was hard to leave our family and our friends and where we were from and the life we knew and start over. Things weren't clicking in the new gym and with the new coaches. It was just becoming a real struggle. And for the first time, doubt started coming in about whether or not to continue doing gymnastics. So call a family meeting, let the parents know, as parents do. They want to ask you all the questions, make sure you've really thought this through. Carly, you put a lot of time and hours and years into this. Are you sure? Yep. So we go, tell the coaches, and I quit. Y'all want to know how long quitting lasted? For 1 whole week. By the end of that week, hated not doing gymnastics, hated not being in the gym and being upside down and flipping around. Couldn't wait to get back in there. So we said, okay, well, maybe it's not the right decision right now. Let's keep training. Hopefully things will turn around and get better. Luckily they did. And about a year later, Dad's job transfers us again, this time to Dallas, Texas. Once again, we get moved and settled and going, and things were going good. We were all really enjoying Dallas, and things were going great in the new gym with the new coaches. Everything was kind of feeling right again, and all the pieces were falling back into place, and that spark was back. And we've all been in a rut before, whether it's been in our jobs, opportunities, finances, our relationships, our marriage, our health, eating, exercise habits. And that's why in those times it is so important to remember and go back to the reasons why we do something and to keep those little sparks alive and burning, because that's what's going to help propel us forward and move us through those times of being burned out. Now, I was stuck in a rut in Houston, but taking that week off from gymnastics, turns out it was the best thing that could have happened for my career. Sometimes that week can be just a magical period where you can get some real mental clarity on something. And that's what it did. It put things back into perspective. Now, I'm not saying you should go and quit your job for the week. Don't do that. I mean, maybe if you need to. But sometimes, in order to get that little refresh, that little recharge on something we might need, sometimes we need to give it a little break. Just set it aside. Don't open file. That way we're able to get that recharge, that fresh perspective that we may need to then go back fully focused with 100%. Something else that can help us through these times of being burned out is by remembering what's on your radar. We all have these radars with blinking lights that pop up and don't go away, and those are the goals we're trying to get to. In this case, the Athens Olympics was the blinking light on the radar. Remember being 12 years old, watching every single minute, just glued to the TV, watching the 2000 Sydney Olympics. And right then and there, committing to doing everything possible to make that team in 4 years for the 2004 Athens Games. What's on your radar? What's that thing that's blinking on your radar that maybe is begging for your attention and at the same time really connects with you? Maybe it's that class you've always wanted to take, that skill you've always wanted to learn or get better at. Maybe it's that company you've always wanted to work with, that account you've always wanted to get. Maybe it's just that risk that you've been too scared to take. You know, life would be much more simple if we had these smooth paths where things didn't get in our way and throw us off course, but it's not how life works. We all know it. We have these natural distractions that get in the way, that throw us off course by other things that seem more appealing than good old-fashioned hard work. So let's go back to being 16. We all remember that time in our life, right? Probably about to get our driver's license, looking at our first car, about to start experiencing some newfound freedom and independence, ready to go and blow with our friends. Now, that was definitely me at 16. But we were also 6 months away from the Olympics at that point. So really, really bad time to start getting distracted by the things around you. And Coach Evgeny had to kind of sit us down and have this come to Jesus meeting. And he was like, what's going on, Carly? What are the priorities? Have they changed? Is it more important to go to the mall, spend more time there, and be going and blowing with your friends here and there, and slumber parties and staying up late and not being fully focused in the gym? Or do you think maybe you can put your blinders on, drown out all these distractions around you right now, and work harder than you've ever had to work in your life for the next 6 months? That way you don't have to look back and have those regrets or wonder what could have happened. I mean, thank goodness for those people that sometimes have to have that hard conversation with us, hold us accountable, and help us to remember and stay focused on those goals and those priorities that we have for ourselves in our life. Because was the goal, was all of those years of hard work, was it to throw away because of going to the mall and spending more time with my friends and slumber parties? Absolutely not. And although it was really hard to see past those things at that time, that was not what all of those years of hard work was for. So let's remember that it's always on us. The amount of effort, the amount of commitment, dedication that we want to put into those things in our life, that we want to put into those priorities and those goals that we have for ourselves. So what is that thing on your radar right now? That opportunity that you know is there that maybe needs your undivided attention, that maybe needs you to put your blinders on and drown out all those distractions, that maybe needs you to work harder than you've ever had to work. Whatever it is, make the plan and write it down. Write it down and put it somewhere where you can see it every day. Whether that's on your bed nightstand or on your mirror so you see it first thing when you're getting ready in the morning. Personally, that's what I like to do. In your car, at your desk at work, on your phone as a reminder that pops up every single day. Wherever it is that's going to help you, hold you accountable, and to help you remember the goals, the priorities, and where you're trying to get to.